The first time Ricky Nelson stepped onto a stage, it wasn't with confidence or dreams of superstardom. It was at the Ohio State Fair, in front of 20,000 people, and he was terrified. But the world would soon know him as America's sweetheart, a clean-cut teen idol whose face graced magazine covers and bedroom walls across the country. Yet behind the charm, the music, and the fame, there was a far darker story, one of exploitation, lost childhood, and a legacy shaped as much by control as by talent. Ricky Nelson didn't choose this life. He was born into it. On May 8, 1940, Eric Hilliard Nelson entered the world in Teaneck, New Jersey. By the time he could crawl, his life had already been scripted. His father, Ozzie Nelson, was a bandleader with a vision, and his mother, Harriet Hilliard, a singer who had performed on vaudeville stages and in films. Fame wasn't just a job for them, it was a family identity. And from the start, Ricky was being shaped to fit that identity. The house he grew up in didn't echo with bedtime stories. It pulsed with scripts, lighting checks, rehearsals. Even before preschool, Harriet was teaching him to control his breathing between verses. He never attended a regular school until she was satisfied he could sing a note without cracking. Ricky didn't want to perform. He was raised like a product being polished for display, his every move guided by parental ambition and a tightly controlled schedule. By age 4, Ricky's name appeared in call sheets. At 8, he stepped into a sound booth to replace the child actor playing him on the family's radio show. He was a sickly, quiet boy with asthma that kept him in bed more than recess ever could. He was observant, slow to speak, watching the world from behind studio lights and parental scripts. Yet when he and his brother David played themselves on air in 1949, audiences didn't see the frail child. They heard jokes, timing, a natural charm emerging under pressure. Within months, the show pulled in 20 million listeners a week. Ricky was 9, earning $200 per episode, but none of it reached his hands. Ozzie kept all the money, giving Ricky only a tiny allowance. While other kids traded baseball cards, Ricky's fame bought furniture, vacations, and investments for his parents. By 16, he had $500,000 in his name, over $5 million today, but he couldn't touch it. At 18, taxes claimed 93% of his earnings. Once, just to take a girl to the movies, he had to collect soda bottles for change. Fame was his life, yet he had no control over it. In 1952, the radio show transitioned to television. The fictional family mirrored the real one, turning the Nelson household into a stage of constant performance. Ricky had no freedom, no unsupervised friends, no late nights, no unchaperoned adventures. His father's mantra was simple: the family is your world. Behind the camera, Ricky battled anxiety, panic, and illness. He became a master of masks, smiling on screen while collapsing when the cameras stopped. The show, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, would run for 14 seasons, chronicling Ricky's life from age 8 into his 20s. Every first date, every crush, every musical awakening was filtered through scripts and parental oversight. The public saw a boy growing up naturally. Ricky lived as a controlled image. His illnesses weren't excuses, they were inconveniences to be worked around. Forced cheerfulness became his survival mechanism. By 1957, Ricky saw Elvis Presley on television, and something in him ignited. He wanted his own voice, unfiltered. That year, he recorded I'm Walking and A Teenager's Romance. Performed on his family's show before the songs even hit stores, they became instant hits. Ricky was no longer just a TV son, he was a teen idol. Record labels fought for control, but Ricky eventually signed with Imperial Records, gaining creative influence unusual for a teenager. Singles like Bop Baby and Have I Told You Lately That I Love You catapulted him into superstardom, blending polished charm with teenage appeal. His debut album, Ricky, topped the charts. Teenagers and parents alike adored him. He was safe, wholesome, and everywhere. The teen idol craze intensified. In 1958, Poor Little Fool became the first #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 chart, historic achievement. Letters poured in from thousands of fans. Concerts erupted into chaos. Police were called in to manage crowds. The hysteria was real, and for Ricky, exhausting. Yet he never stopped. By 1959, he released 6 singles, all top 40 hits. His music charted for 55 weeks that year alone. Fame demanded perfection, yet he was still a teenager navigating adolescence under relentless scrutiny. Despite his public success, Ricky's private life was restricted. A bicycle he wanted at age 12 was denied, not for financial reasons, but because it didn't fit the image. School teasing reinforced his isolation. He was TV boy at lunch and a controlled performer at home. Every step he took was carefully measured. He was earning millions but living as if he had none. As the 1960s arrived, the industry shifted. The Beatles and new musical styles challenged the teen idol formula. Ricky tried to evolve, forming the Stone Canyon Band in 1969 to explore country rock, a precursor to the California sound. He introduced live albums, innovative recordings, and nurtured talent like Randy Meisner. Yet fame is fickle, and audiences were moving on. The clean-cut, 1950s Ricky was fading, even as his music shaped the future of American rock. Ricky's acting career mirrored this tension. Beginning with Here Come the Nelsons in 1952, he appeared in films and television shows, sometimes alongside his parents, often cast as the wholesome heartthrob. Rio Bravo in 1959 showcased his vulnerability and skill, earning him a Golden Globe nomination for Most Promising Male Newcomer. Yet Hollywood limited him, favoring his clean image over grittier roles. Attempts to break into dramatic acting failed, leaving him sidelined as anti-heroes and raw storytelling dominated the 1960s. Off-stage, his personal life was turbulent. He married Kristen Harmon in 1963 and had 4 children, but constant touring, financial stress, and personal conflicts led to divorce in 1982. Custody battles, legal fees, and ongoing financial strain reflected the same control he had endured as a child. Later, a paternity claim from a woman named George and crew added further complications. Though a blood test confirmed he was the father, legal rulings left the child excluded from his estate, continuing the theme of public success contrasted with private limitations. In his final years, Ricky found stability with Helen Blair, a model and exotic animal trainer. They were inseparable partners, but his family disapproved. On December 31, 1985, Ricky and Helen boarded a plane in Texas. The heater malfunctioned midair, leading to a catastrophic fire. Ricky, Helen, and 5 others perished. The pilots survived. The tragedy was compounded when Harriet Nelson refused to allow Helen to be buried alongside Ricky. Lawsuits ensued, but the family's legacy of control persisted even after death. Even in death, Ricky's story contained revelations. Between 2011 and 2020, lawsuits uncovered $12.7 million in hidden royalties from old contracts, money that had been sitting unseen for decades. Ricky had struggled financially during his life, yet a fortune had been quietly waiting, buried in legal obscurity. The posthumous discovery underscored a recurring theme, that Ricky Nelson's life, from birth to death, was defined by fame, control, and the tension between public perception and private reality. Ricky Nelson's life was a study in contrasts, adored by millions, yet trapped by the very family and industry that elevated him, a teen idol whose smile hid anxiety, asthma, and exhaustion, a pioneer of music who paved the way for new genres, yet constrained by his clean image. He was a figure who, in striving to please everyone, often lost the chance to please himself. And perhaps, that is the enduring lesson of his story, that fame, control, and image can shape a life in ways that money and talent alone cannot overcome. From terrified 8-year-old on the radio stage to legendary teen idol, from musical innovator to tragic figure lost in a plane crash, Ricky Nelson's story is not just about music or fame. It's a cautionary tale, a human drama, and a reminder that behind every star, there is a life lived in the shadows of expectation. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started.